morning, baby. Happy Monday. And today on Coffee and Conversation with your girl, Shakenya. When you get a minute, go to that YouTube channel, Shakenya. Oh, somebody wants to see the glasses. I know, because I tagged Cartier and I'm about to switch to the other glasses. They Cartier too. Yeah, I don't have to change nothing, just so you know. Yep. Because see, Instagram, you don't get it, but I try to tag all the designers. I tag everything. I tag Movado when I'm wearing one. So I tag Allure. This is a black-owned company. So I make it easy for you on Facebook. You just click the link and it take you straight to their page and their website. But this is Allure Wrist Design. Black-owned businesses. You know, I promote my people, right? So y'all, today, I'm going to take it easy with you. Yep, I know we're raising our daughters, but we're going to put a pause on it. Yep, because we got to cover all bases before I age them and send them off up to the next grade and all that stuff. They're growing, they're maturing. I want to make sure you know that bases are being covered along the way, okay? So y'all know I'm very heavy on communication. I'm heavy on talking to your children about things. I'm heavy on preparing them, right? So in preparing them, it's a lot of stuff that you need to make sure that they are retaining, right? So conversations have to be had about an array of topics. I talk to my children about everything. When I tell you that politics class was a class, the little that I knew, I taught them. Right? So hoping that whatever else they learn, they'll pick up along the way, right? If I would have ran for office, they definitely would have picked up more because they would have been immersed in the community and in that language and in that, you know what I mean? So since I didn't run, right, because everything that has happened prevented me from doing so, right? I know, ain't that terrible? Oh my God. I want to be a politician. Right? So, yeah, it was in my dreams. It was in my book. Make sure you get a copy of my book. Yep. So with my children being my team, it was just inevitable that it was going to work out and that I was going to run and I was going to win, right? Because I had a winning team, right? So, yeah, to know so many dreams were deferred as a result of somebody being jealous, somebody that was hurt, somebody that was scorned, somebody that just wouldn't leave me alone, right? Just had to do so much damage, right? So many lives were in jeopardy, right? It wasn't just the baby. Right? It was everybody else had dreams, right? So I know. So all those conversations that you have with your children, I hope that one of the classes you were teaching were politics. And I hope you and your children are talking about what's going on. Yeah, you don't have to be, so knowledgeable or know so much, but y'all can learn together if you have adult children, right? And then what you don't know, you should be reading up on, right? Everything that happens with this new president and this new administration, you should be reading up on and being abreast. And then once you learn and figure out what's going on and how it's going to impact you as a person or your family or us as a people, then you sit down and you talk to your children or you call them up and see if they've heard this or did you hear about that? Did you see that on the news? Do you know? So these conversations that you guys are having, that you grew up having with them, should be more intense now. Like y'all should be having family meetings. Y'all should be setting up, talking about how y'all going to survive in this madness. Whatever. Y'all should be able to talk about it with your children. So yeah, I miss talking to my children. I miss being a mom. Right? Oh my God, I miss being a mom, right? And I mean that with everything that comes with it, from your children loving on you, from people going out their way for you, for people respecting you, for people calling to get advice from you, from people wanting to know how are you doing, mom, right? I miss everything that comes with being a mom. I miss the days where I can just tell my kids something and they did it. Right? Because remember, coming up with that discipline and that structure put in place, all I had to do was just tell them to do something and they did it, right? Now, I don't know. I raised my children to be able to take care of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't mean that in a selfish way, meaning that I raised them to be able to be independent, raised them to live without me, just in case something happens to me, God forbid, and they take me away, they still able to carry on and go on. But I also prepared them to be able to take care of business. Right? So when it comes to anything, my last wishes, everything, my children, they should be able to step in, get in place, and do what needs to be done. Right? They should be familiar with everything I need. They should be able, if anything ever happens to me and I'm in my old age and need somebody to take care of me, there shouldn't be a doubt in my mind that my children will be there to take care of me, same as I took care of them. Right? So with him doing what he did, it interrupted the order of everything. Like, I don't know what's going to happen to me when I get older. Right? Man, I don't know what's going to happen to me when I get older. And that's sad to say because I've taken care of so many. It should be a line of people waiting to take care of me. Right? So even though I know you do what you do out the kindness of your heart, you don't do what you do to look for nothing back. When I think about the goodness of God and I think about everything that I've done for people was I was supposed to do it, it still makes me wonder, you know what I mean? What's going to happen to me when I need, right? When I'm, so yeah, that shouldn't be anything, a doubt or fear or nothing, because I raised my children away to love on me, to love on one another. I raised them to be responsible. I raised them to know what needs to be done. They know what death is, so they know it's bound to happen to all of us. We don't know what time we're going to go. So to prepare them for life, I tried to cover every base, right? So when it comes to what's going on with the new administration, are you talking to your children about the changes that the new president has made? And does it impact you, right? And then if it doesn't impact you, do your children, are they still knowledgeable about what's going on, right? So since the president has been in office, a few changes have been made. A few executive orders have been signed. A few things have been through the court system, like a lot of stuff, some stuff been overturned. Like it's a lot going on that your children should be aware of, right? So one of the first things that I can think of that has happened since the new administration came in, the rolling back of DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, ended all programs. This was something I think, this I think addressed systemic inequalities, because when you sit back and think about it, think about how it's affecting us, who is it really affecting? Like, I wonder if the people that voted for him knew that this was going to happen, and if they did, was it wrapped up differently, right? Because I'm noticing a lot of people that run with the president and that whole organization are more so, they don't like people of color, right? And I noticed they don't like people in the LGBTQ community, right? And I know that they don't care too much for foreigners, right? So with that type of hatred and bigotry and all that type of, that's too much. That's too much, because I think they wrapped it up in that. But it affects us in so many different ways, right? The way it was set up just for hiring practices, right? Education, right? Federal contracts, right? I think it made like an even playing field, right? Because we know how this system is, and we know how our America is and have been to us, people of color, right? A lot of people don't want us in that place. They don't want us working with them. They don't want us shopping with them. They don't want us nowhere around, right? So if they had the liberty or freedom to be able to say that they don't want us and be okay with saying it, and no penalty or nothing is done for them being able to do that, they would, right? They would, if it's owned by them, right? That's why we need our own. We need our own businesses. We need our own, so we can hire our own. And I don't mean to say that to be discriminatory, but to say it in the sense of you just looking out for your own people first. Right? So if you have a business and you're hiring people in your community, you're just looking out for your people first, right? So, yeah, with that being taken down, why that was like one of the first things on the agenda, when it's so much that could have been addressed, it's so much going on with so many people, so many different cultures, so many things that the new administration could have addressed first, right? That was one of the main things. So are you talking to your children? Does this affect your children in any way? And if it does, do they know how? Right? Because like I said, I think a lot of that stuff was put in place to make sure that we had an even playing field and can able to compete with our counterparts. Yep, our Caucasian counterparts, right? But now that that's been taken away, people are probably losing their job left to right, I'm quite sure, just because of the color of their skin. I'm quite sure a lot of people are being denied certain programs for the color of their skin. I'm quite sure funding is being denied to certain individuals because of the color of their skin. All of that wrapped up in what they took down. Why would the administration take something like that down when they're the president for everybody? I don't know. Because all those things are things that you would think would include everybody, right? So to do away with it, yeah. So it's a good chance that your children, as they get older, they might struggle in certain areas. The privileges that we might have had and grew up with, as little as they may be, are taken away from them. They're probably going to struggle in certain areas if they're trying to educate themselves, further their education. Certain jobs they might go out for, it might be hard for them, right? Depending on where they go. Another thing that has happened, museums and cultural narratives is an executive order directing the Smithsonian Museums, including the National Museum of African American History and Culture, to remove divisive narratives and improper ideology. This affects how Black history and racial issues are taught or exhibited, possibly minimizing or altering narratives about structural racism and civil rights. Wow. So that means that Black history class, thank God you taught it, right? Thank God you didn't just wait until February, right? Thank God you have been talking to your children ever since they were youths. They were youths, right? About Black history, about your history, about what's going on, about where we come from, about where we are now, about some of the changes that was made since the 60s to where now, and then some of the changes, some of the things that's still there, right? Because racism's still there, right? We seeing a lot of that reoccurring. People getting put out, people not being served because of the color of their skin. People, Caucasians calling the police on Black people and police coming and taking them away without even hearing their side of the story. Yeah, that used to happen back in the day, right? White woman, all she had to do was holler and whistle and everything. Yeah, that shouldn't happen now, but it is, right? Right? People are being unalived in situations from trees and whatnot. Like that used to happen back in the day, but it's happening now, right? So history is repeating itself in so many different ways. And I don't know if it was supposed to be like that or because of what the new administration is doing that's causing it and making it so. Either way it is, it's happening. And your children are going to be affected by it. You might not be here long enough to see everything that takes place once he's finished while he's in office, but your children and grandchildren are definitely going to be here for it, right? So yeah, are you talking to them about that, right? So by you teaching Black history, hopefully they're well aware, because at this point, I believe they're removing books. I believe they're removing art displays. They're trying to rewrite it, I think, right? They're trying to erase it, right? I don't think America likes that black eye, what they did to us. The whole slavery thing, the mistreatment of us, right? So yeah, I don't think they want people to know for real. They don't want you to remember. Right? Now, I'm not saying that's something that you need to be, every day just dwelling on it to the point where you're saddened about what has happened to us as a people. You can't go on. Nope, you should use what has happened to us as fuel to go higher, to go further, to do more, right? So that should be the fuel that you use. So yeah, me talking to my children about civil rights, about slavery, everything we had to go through to get just the rights that we have. Yeah, that DEI being removed definitely should have been a conversation piece for me and my children, right? Because now we have to backtrack on some of the things that we've said that I've told them as far as Black history is concerned because of what's going on now, right? And how it is changing and the same. So let's see, what else have he done since he's been there? Number 3, I have civil rights / voting rights enforcement. Weakening civil rights enforcement, reducing protections, and pushing policy changes that can roll back access or protection in areas such as voting, education, and protections from discrimination. Right? Oh, this is terrible. All of this is just terrible because it seems like some of the things that we had worked hard for, or some of the things that we had, kind of pushed for, rallied for, protested to get, to have, that was put in place for us has been taken away. Right? So, again, why this was first on the agenda, I don't know. Right? You would have thought that even though the next administration is coming in and, changes are to come, certain things should have remained the same. Right? There's so many other things that he could do and they can do for the betterment of us as Americans, that this right here, things that's already in place, some stuff shouldn't be touched. So I wish that I knew the agenda. I wish that I knew the reasons why. I wish I could see the big picture, right? Because at this point, I really don't. It seems like it's been total chaos since he's been voted in, right? It's been total chaos since he's been voted in. All the way down to people being hired in that probably have no knowledge of their job and what they're supposed to be doing. Some of them have no experience, but yet and still they are fulfilling these high-level positions to make decisions for us, right? So it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess, right? So I just hope you staying current. I hope you staying abreast, and I hope you're making sure that your children are knowledgeable about what's going on. Healthcare policy. Scaling back on parts of the Affordable Care Act and reducing medical coverage for mainly people of color that relies on it, right? So many people that are relying on Medicare and Medicaid are definitely affected, if not affected, will be affected in the months to come with their medical care. So what does that say for some of the people that are in nursing homes, where the nursing homes are getting paid off the Medicare or whatever to house those people? So if the Medicare and the Medicaid stop, does that mean that they're going to be removed from these nursing homes, right? Does that mean then where would they go, right? What does that look like? Right? And then the nursing homes where they were, that were mainly accepting those benefits to stay open, how are they going to stay open and remain open? What's going to happen to those people that work there? They're going to lose their jobs, right? It's just such a domino effect to everything that he's done, to where I really don't see the logic. I really don't, because usually I'm one of those people that I believe in processes, I believe in protocol, I believe in procedures, I believe that certain things has to be done for something else to happen. Right? Like in my plan A, even though my children didn't like cleaning, right? They had to learn how to clean and clean, right? Before they can get to a level of training people, before they can get to a level of a supervisor, to where they're actually telling people what to do. They're actually in the capacity to hire and fire people. They're actually in the capacity to go in and actually know how long it takes to clean this building and what needs to be done. They knew that, right? But you had to clean first. Right? Especially if I'm trying to make sure my children are humble and grounded. That was one of the main things. I wanted my children to be humble and grounded, because when we did hit millionaire status, I never wanted them to forget where they came from. Right? So sometimes you gotta do it. You gotta work first. You gotta put that work in first before you can sit back and reap the benefits. You have to build something. Right? So yeah, them starting off cleaning was just that. At this stage in the game in plan A, they wouldn't be cleaning. They would have people working for them. Right. So, yeah. So what's going to happen to those people that's going to lose their benefits? Right. Why was this important? I don't know. Was it a way to save money? I don't know. Because what are you going to do with the money that's saved? Right. And then what type of backup plan that you have, or anything that's put in place for those people that still rely on those benefits? Like, some of these people can't work. They can't get out here and make it. You know what I'm saying? They can't. They can't. They have health issues, right? Fix it. Jesus. Man, okay. So the healthcare. Number 5, I wrote environmental regulation. Whatever that is, or a bill that was signed. Pollution may be people that stand by plants. Okay, it has something to do with the pollution, of course, and the environment, but I'm trying to see, maybe this pertains to people that probably stay by plants or something. You know, remember they had an issue where some company was trying to dump some type of poisonous, hazardous material somewhere close, and it was in there, and everybody was fighting and rallying for them not to be able to do that, because if they would have left it there, all the people that stay in that area probably would have been affected by the chemicals and breathing the air. So maybe this has something to do with cutting that whole department to where now they probably don't even care. People could just come and they can dump it. Ain't nobody going out to check the air to see what can happen to these people that's breathing it. They can care less. I think that might have something. I'm not laughing because of that. I'm just laughing at the fact that somebody would think that that's safe. Or somebody wouldn't care, right? I would think an administration would care about their people, right? They would care about the people that live in this nation. They would care about people no matter who they are, no matter where they live, no matter what their ethnicity is. They would care about them, right? So to know that somebody is able to dump hazardous waste or something in an area, proximity close to people where they live, to where they can possibly be affected by the air, that's terrible. Because in most cases, they try to dump that stuff in the area that we live in, which is called the hood, right? They feel like don't nobody care about us anyway. Ain't nobody coming to check. Ain't nobody. So they'll come from the suburbs and they'll dump stuff in our neighborhoods. They come in our properties. Yeah. Fix it, Jesus. So let's see, that was in there. Yeah, I miss talking to my kids. Goodness. I hate that my parenting was interrupted by dad. Yeah, taking those babies away from me, because he didn't just take the baby, he took all the kids. When he took that baby out of my life, he took all the kids, right? So to not be able to teach them, it was so much that I was still teaching them. I was still raising them, right? So to know that that stopped and it was interrupted and not be able to still, I'm so full of knowledge, right? Because there's so many things that I didn't get a chance to show them. So many things I didn't get a chance to expose them to. So many things I wasn't able to teach them, right? And now the doors are closed, right? Because by dad removing that baby like he did, it made me seem irrelevant. Right? Like I didn't matter. Like I wasn't doing my job. Like I wasn't doing anything. So all the knowledge and everything that I had already taught them is irrelevant. Right? So I hate that because I miss being a mom. Right? I miss talking to them. In plan A, I'm not going to say that we wouldn't have been affected by DEI, but considering that I started the cleaning company as a way to provide opportunities for them and provide a place for them and to create generational wealth, I would have had us secured in the sense of we would have been a different tax bracket for one. So whatever change they trying to do, it probably wouldn't have affected them economically. But for the most part, by them having their own businesses, they're not working for anybody. So the job part, the employment part probably wouldn't affect them too much because they'll be in a position to hire other people. Right? So they'll be creating opportunities for people. So yeah, that plan A was the cleaning company generating income and then all of us pouring into each other one by one. Right? Like let's say we want to get Jay's building first so he can get his mechanics off the ground. You know what I mean? Get his wrenching and everything on, right? Or maybe we could have poured into Brandon first, my son. Maybe we could have got his food truck going, right? And then once he get that going, then we can pour it into the girls and got their building for their boutique. Like all the money would have been poured into one another until we got everything up and running like it should be. So we definitely would be in a position to where we're hiring people. So it would have affected us at some point. Maybe being discriminated against if they out here with these white folks spending money because they have it, right? Maybe pulling up to golf courses, pulling up to these different, jumping in their boat, right? So, yeah, they probably would have felt it a little bit then, but at that point, what can you say, right? They getting on their boat, right? They coming in because they can afford to eat here, right? Whatever, right? So... and they probably wouldn't be eating there. They'd be eating at Brandon's restaurants, right? So let's see. What else did they do? Yeah, so the DEI, yeah, definitely wouldn't have affected them as much. It would, but wouldn't, right? Entrepreneurship, me teaching them about home ownership, me teaching them about entrepreneurship. I raised them to be their own boss, right? Let's see. Yeah, my children knew about racism even though I didn't teach it, right? So even all the way down to them having their own businesses and hiring their own people, it wouldn't be because they're racist. It would be just, like I said, looking out for their own first, right? Because definitely I would want them to be diverse. Definitely I would want them to hire people from different ethnicities. Yes, yes, yes. Just make sure you got your people together first. That's all. Hire all your friends. Hire all your family members. Make sure they solid and secure and earning money. And then you start tapping outside of that, right? Yeah, so they were very aware of how they could possibly be treated because of the color of their skin. So yeah, so having these conversations with them now, I wish I could. Yeah. Everything that the government is doing, yep, I was setting them up so they wouldn't even have to depend on none of the benefits that the government has. No handouts, right? Yeah, only if my baby father would have forgiven me and healed and found closure, right? Gotten help with his mental issues, right? Because it takes somebody with mental issues to do what he did to us, right? My family would still be intact. I would still have a relationship with my baby. Yeah. So I hope somebody's educating her. Like, I hope the people that he put in place to take my place, I hope they picked up where I left off at. I hope everything that I was teaching her, I hope that they were able to continue to teach her. Right? I hope she's having conversations with people about what's going on and they're keeping her abreast of what it is, right? Like right now, I'm going through menopause, right? And I can actually say that. So I went through perimenopause and now I'm actually in menopause. So the hot flashes and everything that I'm going through. So moms, when we're at this stage, this is the time that you should be talking to your daughter if she's old enough to know what's going on, right? She should be well aware and prepared to go through it, right? So that was what I was all about. So it wasn't about me buying the kids and this and that, buying them the latest, this and that. To me, it's what's taught, not what's bought. So every day was a learning experience being my child, right? So yeah, I hope somebody's actually talking to her about menopause so that she's not caught off guard when she get of age, right? So that's it for Coffee and Conversation with your girl. Hey, Monty. Hey, Danielle. Hey, Kasha Love. Beautiful. How are you? Y'all enjoy y'all Monday. I'm out. Mwah.